angry guy here, and a woman mocks men who earn less than $400,000 a year, despite only making $18 an hour herself. So I want to just jump right into this article with you guys because it just illustrates the insane hypocrisy that men are now living with. And it's not going to stop anytime soon, but I want you guys to just see how women value themselves so much more than men, that they believe that just because of their marketplace value based on their sexuality, they are valued they are valued in this way compared to men. So anyway, let's just jump into it, because this is pretty sad. It's really upsetting, and I can see why so many guys are using these reasons to just walk away from Western society, dating, relationships, and marriage. The article is titled "Woman Mocks Men Who Earn Less Than $400,000 Despite Only Making $18 an Hour Herself." And it says, let's go ahead and jump to it. Okay. So it looks like it just jumped ahead a bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know why auto rotation is actually off. But yeah, so basically the article illustrates how this woman, she works a minimum wage job, and she's only making minimum wage money. Okay, give me a moment while I just fix that for you guys, because it looks like the page is kind of like doesn't want to work the way it's supposed to work. But she's making minimum wage money, and somehow she thinks that she deserves a guy who's making, almost $500,000 a year. And it's absolutely crazy. But it's a perfect example of how modern day women think and how they perceive their own value. So here it is. All right, let's go ahead and read this for you guys. I felt like just like jumping. I felt like just picking this up. The video shows the woman looking concerned, along with a caption. An account posted by a user who goes by at Tay3455 on the popular social media platform shows a woman sitting in what appears to be a luxury car. Luxury car, I love that. With a text overlay that reads, "When I look up his salary and it's under $400,000. Wow." She pans the camera around to reveal her face, where she bites her lip and mouths, "What the F is that?" Right? And let's keep going. Okay. Many people thought the woman was being too judgmental, considering that very few Americans earn that amount of money. Many users who saw the video took her clip as the young woman being judgmental of the amount of cash that 99% of all Americans earn annually, less than 400,000 per year. There was a response to the aforementioned TikTok video, however, from another user on the platform who uploaded a clip of their own. Others, however, found a video where the woman claimed to be earning $18 an hour at what appears to be a gas station. Oh my goodness. The majority of their video is a repost of Tay 3455's. However, there is one key difference. At this official 2 appears to have found a screenshot of one of the woman's TikTok videos where she is at her job. Judging from the screenshots of the clip, it looks like the woman works at a restaurant, cafe, or bodega of some sort. A caption in the video reads, "Me making 18 an hour to drink iced tea." And by the way, guys, I'm pretty confident that if 4chan, 4chan wanted to, do an investigation and find out exactly where this is, yeah. So that works out to $37,440 annually. Assuming that she works 40 hours a week at this job, that comes out to $720 a week before taxes are factored in, and that multiplied by 52 weeks in a year means that she earns $37,440 annually. If she works 10 hours a week overtime, which would put her at the time and a half pay, $27 an hour, then she would earn $51,480 a year. And if she managed to work $80 an hour a week consecutively for a year, for 52 weeks, she would earn $93,600, or still less than one fourth of the $400,000 she referenced in the first video at her current hourly wage. Okay, and let's keep on going. Unsubscribe. Unsurprisingly, this revelation led to some creative comments. And, Brody Strong says, "What do you bring to the table?" A number of TikTokers immediately threw shade in the woman's direction, with one person writing $400,000 to come home and dinner's not ready. Some pointed out the hypocrisy. Another penned, "A dude making half a mil and up is not looking at your direction." Others were a bit more straightforward. Others, $400,000 a year, and I'd settle for her. Let's keep going. And then there were those who found the video she posted humorous. The jokes will always write themselves. Okay. One user calculated it would take the woman 10.6 years to earn $400,000. There was one TikToker who pointed out the annual salary of the President of the United States of America is $400,000 a year. She's looking for a lifesaver, another added, "Oh, bro." Another user thought it was apparent that the woman was looking to enter into a relationship with someone who would just foot the bill for their cost of living. She's looking for a lifesaver. No, this really looks like some sugar baby stuff, but or soft girl life, but whatever. The jury is out whether money is important in a relationship. Okay, so we're finished. So let's finish. That's the end of the article. But this really illustrates the modern thinking of most women, where women basically believe that, they can demand a guy, shell out an insane amount of money. Shout out to AP. Shout out to AP. Shout out to AP, longtime follower. Good to see you. Let me see. Eric says, "Please, oh my gosh, please, I make $45 as a security guard at the courthouse downtown Anchorage, Alaska. I still don't need or want." Oh, shoots. Okay. Yeah, Eric's pissed off. Sci-Fi Gamer says she really likes to judge wealthy men, yet she makes average income. Pathetic. I mean, yeah, and shout out to Jay Young. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning to you. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. You know. I mean, I like this comment. She really likes to judge wealthy men, yet she makes average income. I mean, and it's like what it is that it's a level of entitlement that women have today in Western society. I mean, she keep in mind she views $100,000 as basic. Okay, like she wouldn't date a guy that makes less than $400,000. Guys, that's the minimum. That's her minimum. So you have to understand, $400,000. That means that she sees someone making $400,000 as basically barely a plan B guy. I want y'all to think about that. A guy making $400,000 for her is like barely a plan B guy. Okay? Because when she gives you that number, really what she views that guy is as a plan C guy. All right? That's a plan come up guy. Because she's gonna use that guy to come up and to enrich her own life until she can then move to the plan B guy. Because what she really wants is a millionaire. Okay, let me make that very clear. So that $400,000 is not enough for her. Okay, that would $400,000. That's not enough for her. After he's done paying, taxes. After he's done paying taxes, rent, and all these other things. How much of that is she going to be able to get for herself? Think about that. So she's not looking for a guy making $400,000. All right, she's looking to use a guy maybe making $400,000 as a come up. All right, until she can transition to the Plan B guy who's making millions of dollars. Okay, I'm just being very straight with you. A guy making I've said that to you guys before. That many of y'all think that you're Plan B guys. You're like, Angry, I make over $100,000 a year. They call you broke boys. You make $120,000 a year. They call you broke boys. This is what y'all to understand. All right, a guy making 100, they think of those guys as broke boys. Okay, those are broke boys to them. They treat a guy making $120,000 a year as a Plan D guy now. All right, that's a Plan D guy. For some, maybe for some, barely a Plan C, but for a lot of guys, they call a guy making $100,000 a year now a broke boy. And obviously, we know that's not the case, but you have to understand their mindset. So they treat guys who make that kind of money as Plan D guys, Plan desperate. Okay, a guy making $50,000 a year, which is what roughly 56,000 is what the average guy makes. They view those guys as basically a Plan Z guy, which is terrible because Plan Z guys are guys who don't have jobs. They're not going any. They're the guys that women stay clear of. But if a woman hears that a man makes $50,000 a year, she's gonna steer clear of him. She's going to view him as not even a Plan D guy. All right, like she's basically gonna say, I wouldn't be with him even if I was desperate. I would not be with that guy making his little $50,000 a year, even if I was desperate. That's the attitude of the typical American woman today, typical Western woman. All right. Even if she was desperate, she wouldn't be with a guy making $50,000 a year. There are so many women right now who are homeless, who are living in their cars, who are in very, very difficult situations. And they are, in their minds, going to stay there until they find the Plan B guy. They won't settle any less than a Plan C guy, which are these guys making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. All right. But their Plan B guy is usually a millionaire. And you have to really comprehend that. And I'm looking at the comment from Tojai, and he says they're greedy. Less than 400,000 will last you for life somewhere else. That's true, but they don't care. You have to understand that they spend. I was looking at this estimate someone gave. They spend thousands on purses, hundreds on shoes. I was shocked when I discovered that women can spend $1,000 on a pair of shoes. Like, what? I used to see commercials or TV shows where like, oh, she just spent $100 on a pair of pumps or $200 on a pair of heels, and you're like, oh gosh, women wasting money on shoes. And now you're seeing like $1,000 on a pair of shoes that she only wears one time or never even wears. And I'm like, are those a pair of Jordans? Those better be a pair of Jordans. Because like a pair, and the irony is like they buy these clothes, they buy the shoes, they buy so many things that the moment they purchase them and take it out of the store, it immediately loses its value. It immediately loses its value. Once it's out of season, no one wants it anymore. And this is the way that they live their lives. And it's absolutely insanity. But this is the way modern day women think and behave in Western society. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications so never miss another video again, and like the video because it tells YouTube you're enjoying the content, you want to see more of it, so YouTube will show you more of it. But I mean, guys, this is the society, this is the world that we now live in, where women believe that they can. And I talked about this. She makes $36,000 a year working at McDonald's. All right, but she only dates NBA players. She only dates athletes. Like this is the honest to goodness truth. And like when you talk to these girls, right? And you ask them questions a lot of times, if they're honest, they'll admit, have you dated this person or have you slept with them? Like have you and if they're honest, they'll admit, well, I just slept with them. We didn't actually date, you know. We only slept together. But a lot of women, maybe most women, they won't admit to it. They're like, oh, I've dated millionaires, I've dated athletes, right? You've dated athletes? Really? Where did he take you? To his hotel room? To his hotel room? Right? Like really, what are you even thinking? You know? Oh, what'd you eat? We didn't eat anything. Did you even have, I mean, so we had some wine, and then we were just so into each other that, it just happened after that. What? What? That's not a date, that's a hookup, you know? But a lot of them, they can't live with it. They can't live with it. They can't accept it. They can't own up to it, that's all it was, you know? And they just go through these relationships one after another, hooking up with these guys who don't actually give a cluck about them. And then of course they look at good men and they crap on good men. They see good men and they're like, you're not good enough for me. And it's sad. They look at good men and they go, you're not good enough for me. What does it actually mean? Only 14% of the US population are 6 feet or taller. And only 10% of men are 6'1" or taller. 10%. And these women want a man who's at least 6 feet. Many of them are looking for 6'3" even. A man that makes hundreds, if not millions of dollars per year. And he's going to be their best friend. He's going to be their provider, protector, best friend. He's going to do everything for them. He's going to change their tire. He is going to be everything. And he's going to worship them because they are goddesses. And he will provide someone that will do the cooking and the cleaning. And I'm like, what? See, what women really want to do in modern society is to basically turn men into domestic servants who pay for the honor to be in their presence. That's really what it is. That's what women have now. They've basically graduated to godhood, where they want to be worshipped, and they tell each other, only get a man, when you only get a man that's going to worship you. Okay? He's going to worship you, and he's basically going to pay for the privilege of being in her presence, of allowing him to be in her presence, of allowing him to serve her. They believe that they are gods. And, guys, I've talked about, the golden vagina. This is what we have in society today. Just like we had the golden calf, today we have the golden vagina. And we know exactly what God did about that. And women cannot repent. In fact, they believe that God has ordained this for them. And God is going to give them the man that worships them because they are goddesses. They believe that God, his purpose is to also serve them. This is an amazing concept. They don't believe in serving God. They believe in God serving them. It's unbelievable. But guess what? Nothing lasts forever. What men are going through in society today, we're suffering for original sin. We're suffering for our sin. We're suffering for choosing the woman over God. And it's something that we've continued to do. And God has told us continuously, don't listen to her. Okay? You chose to listen to your wife instead of me. And you look at the Bible, and the Bible warns men about being leaders. And it talks about the role of women in the home and in the church and in the community. And yet men still continue to simp. And there's a lot, and let me make this very clear. A lot of the suffering we're going through with modern day women are because of the simps from the past who chose to raise their daughters this way, to raise them like little princesses and tell them that they were special and that they could do no wrong. And they put them out into the world. And anytime you confront these guys, they all have the exact same argument. You don't know what it's like to have a daughter. It's just like, it's like you can't yell at them, and it's just like you want to be daddy daughter. You want to do tea, right? You don't want to have tea parties with her and paint nails and all this other stuff, right? And it's like, and they look at you like you don't understand. No, I understand very fine. You didn't raise your kid properly. You allowed her to believe that she was special, okay? And that men were supposed to serve her, and the purpose of men was to give her everything she wanted because she's better than them. I mean, you helped to program her to believe that man bad, women good. And then when they go out into society and they create havoc in society, where are these fathers? Where are these fathers? You'll notice these men are very silent. You'll notice these men are often extremely silent. Maybe you might just see them walking alongside their disgraced offspring. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's mind blowing. How do you raise these men? Aren't raising their daughters properly. They're absolutely not. Let's check out the chat a little bit. See what the latest comment is in there. Let me check this out. Tajal says, while they want us to worship them, there is a God in heaven that is furious on stuff like this. I am glad I didn't meet my wife in the dirty environment. Lol. Guys, this is not, let me tell y'all, many of y'all think, and because we've been brainwashed into believing that this is just the norm and it will last forever and it's unstoppable. And women have this in their brains that, you know, that this is just how it is and that men will always want them. And the moment they see things like the passport bros or the MGTOW or MWA, they basically start throwing shade. They go on the attack. They start trying to you know attack that because they cannot accept in their heads. They start to experience like cognitive dissonance where they cannot resolve the two thoughts that men actually cannot can say no to them. Men can choose to be alone. They'll start to call you names, try to shame you, call you an incel, you know anything possible, because they ultimately know deep down that without men they have nothing. you know they can't do anything without men in society. But of course they'll never own up to it. And I've said this before 90 shoots maybe 99%. I'd say probably 99% of women today will stay on their hill. They will stay on their hill, and they will never take accountability, never admit wrongdoing. They can't. 99%, I will say 99%, and even those who appear to to be showing remorse, it's not true remorse. They're not remorseful for what they've done or how they've done it. They're remorseful because they got caught and now they have to pay consequences for it. If they never faced consequences, they would never stop doing it. All right? They would never turn around and say, "You know what? Men are going through things or I was wrong." Not they would never. They would never. In fact, and this is the truth when it comes to feminism, because women have pointed this out, feminism always goes underground. It never actually goes away. Feminism never goes away. It just goes underground. I said this before. I said while the label feminism might die, the legacy will live on. All right, it will live on. It will absolutely live on. All right, and even and that's what always happens. There are always periods where feminism gets to the point where starts to piss people off. All right, and degrade society. And then what they do is they go underground. They go underground, but they don't go away. And then as soon as things get better, they come right back. In fact, it in our situation with feminism, it won't actually go away. It'll always be there. Just like how the internet is always going to be there, it's just blending into our lives. It's just becoming seamless as a part of our life. Feminism will always be there, even if you don't talk about it. Even if women say they're not feminist, they will always have those feminist ideals because they're ingrained in them. You have a lot of conservative women, all right, who call themselves conservatives, but they're career women. They're 100% career women. They have feminist ideals, extraordinary feminist ideals, and they're trying to pass themselves off as conservative. And that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. One of the reasons why dating overseas is so feasible and it's so much better is because in these countries, there's never going to be welfare. In a lot of countries, there will never be welfare. America is a welfare state. Okay, America is a 100% welfare state. But when you go to other countries, even countries that do have some money, but they don't have welfare programs, it's different. When women do not have access to these welfare programs, to these social welfare programs, it's a whole different ballgame. But you have to be careful because when you go to the Philippines, while you can find a good woman in the Philippines, don't misunderstand, that's not your country. That's not your country. And you need to assume that at any moment you can be in a world of danger. Now, don't get me wrong, life comes with risk, and I advise every man to travel. Okay? I advise every man to travel and to see what options they have. But never forget, no matter where you go in this world, that country is not your country. If you go to Mexico and become a Mexican citizen, the moment you get into an argument with a natural born Mexican citizen, they will snatch that citizenship away from you and send you back to where you came from. Okay? And I want y'all to understand that very, 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 very carefully. While America has a lot of problems, America is probably the only country in the world where when you become an American, for the most part, you are an American. And this is your country. And you can say, this is my land. This is my country. Okay? In other countries, you don't have that. It doesn't matter if you become a naturalized citizen, they will snatch that away from you in a heartbeat. And it's the honest to goodness truth. Men have to wake up and realize that the women around us, they're the predators and we're their prey. And that's the reason why we always have to be on guard. You go to the Philippines, the women over there, they're looking for a man to save them, to rescue them. And it might sound hard to say it like that, but it's true. It's very, very true. It's so true. And the families are all in on it. Their families are all in on it. Okay? Looking for ways to extract as much wealth and resources from a Western guy and looking for a stupid guy, a guy that's trusting, a guy that's nice. You don't want to be nice. I was stupid. You don't want to be nice. Doesn't mean you can't be kind, but you don't want to be nice. Because when you're nice, you become a people pleaser. All right? If I meet a woman in the Philippines, I can meet her family, not right away, but I'll make it very clear to her your family is your family, and that's it. My money is not our money. My money is my money, and I choose to use some of my money to make your life better if you're with me. But my money is not our money. It's as simple as that. 100%. And I'm not helping your family. I'm not, and if that's going to be an issue, then there's not going to be a relationship. And when you go overseas, guys, that's one important thing. You don't just fall in love with the first girl. You need to work the field. You might say, well, what if I meet a good girl right away? That's fine. So stay in contact with her, get to know her, but work the field. And you need to understand something, man. You really have you really don't have to marry these women. I'll repeat, you don't need to marry them. Sell them a dream. Sell them a dream. All right? And get what you want and then leave. Never give them your real name. Never show them your ID. Because if they don't know your name, then they can't find you. They can't track you. Okay? That's the honest to goodness truth. And then it's like there's a ton of different islands in the Philippines. So never go back to the same island twice. All right? Go over there, have your fun, meet a bunch of different women, go out, date them, spend some time there. And then once things start getting serious, leave. And there's not much they can do about it. If she doesn't know your name, she can't prove it's you. If she doesn't know your name, she can't prove it's you. She could never. Guys, women are really powerless in the world. All the power comes from the fact that we give it to them and how they get. And the way they gain power? They gain it through our trust. So if you stop trusting women, if men stop trusting them, they lose all their power. They lose a great amount of it. If women lose the trust of men and it accelerates on a large scale, they lose everything. Because if men no longer trust them, then they won't want to do anything for them. It's true. If men no longer trust women, then increasingly, many of them will either won't want to have anything to do with them or they won't want to help them. You see, that's the thing about trust. That's why a man's word is so important. And that's why, we've said it that men have agency, and agency is something women just don't have. Right? And women are not realistic. This woman is here mocking this man because mocking men in general because they earn less than $400,000 a year while she's there earning $37,000 a year if she works 40 hours a week. And there's a good chance that she's only a part-time employee making $18 an hour. And she has the nerve, she has the gall to dunk on Ben. Come on. What's messed up? Eric said, please, I make $45 an hour as a security guard. Here's the sad thing about that. She called him a straight up broke boy. It's insane. It's insanity. All right? You call someone making $90,000 a year a broke boy? Are you what planet are you on? In what delusional world do you live where someone making $90,000 a year is a broke boy? But that's because they've hooked up with athletes. All right? They've hooked up with athletes. A lot of these, because guys, men will hook up with just about anyone. You'll have guys who are tens that hook up with women who are fives, which kind of says a lot about Western society. Guys, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. All right. And what women are doing in Western society, God is allowing women to put themselves on that pedestal. He's allowing them to write a. God is allowing the tower. What was it? The Tower of Babel. He is allowing women to keep building that tower higher and higher and higher. All right, believing that they are goddesses. All right, and they were sent to earth to rule over mankind. They're building that tower, building it up because they believe they are gods. They believe they are gods. So he's letting them build that tower until until one day he just comes along and he just knocks it down. And when it falls, all of these women will suddenly find themselves divided, separated from men, unable to communicate, lost. It will be like the children of Egypt. Was it 40 years and 40 years in the desert until everyone from the previous generation was no longer among us, and only then they were allowed to enter into the promised land? I want y'all to think about that. Like, God does these things. He literally wipes out entire generations. He will allow an entire generation to go bye-bye. Women got their rewards. Now they're going to face their consequences. And they're fighting, rushing desperately, trying to avoid said consequences. Because when you think about this, all of these women, they want to live soft lives. They want men who are going to give them soft lives, easy lives. And it's madness. It is absolute madness. Let me read this comment from Joe Jet. If Jesus came back and said, I am Lord, these women will say, no, you're dusty. It is so it's true, though. It's true. They would call Jesus dusty. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They would straight up call Jesus dusty. And they would try to cancel him too. They would try, they would try to cancel Jesus. And you know what's really what's unfortunate for these people? God hasn't forgotten what happened the first time around when Jesus came down here. Okay? God hasn't forgotten it. All right? So while he's not holding a grudge, he still remembers. So if you think that Jesus is coming down here and you're going to run your mouth to Jesus, and you're going to have you think you're going to have your way with Jesus? It would be hell on earth. You literally see people going poof, like poof, just like that, like poof. And then all of a sudden you have these women talking about God, you are unjust. You are unjust. It has to be a man to use his powers this way, And then start talking about how God is a part of the patriarchy. Oh my, could you imagine that, y'all? Talking about God is a part of the patriarchy. Oh my goodness gracious. And then saying that he's not even the real God because we all know we all know Mother Nature is the one who created everything and she's really the God of everything. All right? Because it takes a woman to give birth. I'm telling y'all. It's really that serious. It's really that serious. I want y'all to think about this carefully. Men have both an X and a Y chromosome. What that means is that men are complete while women are incomplete. Women only have an X and an X, okay? Women only have an X and an X. Men have an X and a Y. What does that mean? It means that from a man, you can produce both males and females, but a woman cannot do that. Here's an interesting thing that a lot of people don't know. You can take skin cells from men, and they've been working on this for a number of years now, and they can basically turn these cells into other cells, including sperm cells and egg cells. They can take cells from a man and they can turn those cells into both sperm cells and egg cells. If they try that with a woman, they can only create cells that have the that have an X chromosome, not XY, only X. While in men, you can have both XY or XX. Basically, men can have sons and daughters using those cells. You can create an egg, all right, and you can create a sperm. And the truth is that you can combine those and you can implant that into a woman's womb, and she can have the baby, give birth to a child that is genetically not from a woman. And don't get me wrong, it will have all the DNA necessary, but it did not come from a biological woman. And if we ever have an artificial womb, then it would eliminate women completely from the reproductive process, because it would no longer be necessary. If a man wants to have a child and there's an artificial womb, you don't need a woman to have a child. You don't need to have a woman. Men would completely eliminate women from the process. They would go and they would find other men, and they would make deals with other men. And you know how it is when you work with men. Typically, because there's some scumbag guys out there, but men will be held accountable. There's no crying or nothing. Men have to have agency. So men would basically work something out. You might even have a situation where you have two guys who are best friends, and they're like, "Hey, bro, you want to have a baby?" And like, it sounds, some of you are like, "Oh, come on, bro, come on, angry. That doesn't sound right." Yeah, it doesn't sound right now, but in the future, all right. Think about it. You've got two best friends. They want kids, but they don't want the stress and they don't want the consequences that come with having a relationship or having a child with a woman who can take that child away. And you're like, "Hey, bro, you want to have a kid? Yeah, let's do this thing, man." And they go, they both provide their genetic material, all right, and they have kids, and they raise their kids together, sharing custody, whatever. And guys, women themselves would be absolutely furious at this arrangement. And they would basically say that this is something that hurts women and girls and it's damaging. And they would try to have the technology either banned, or basically what they would demand is that the technology can only be used by women. For example, they would say that the artificial womb should only be used by women. Only women should have the right to bring children into this world or to create life. This would be their argument, that only women should have the ability to create life. So, if an artificial womb is used, it can only be used by a woman. That's how it is, because women don't have anything else. You take away reproduction, women have nothing else. If you take away reproduction, I want y'all to think about this. Men can go and get nookie anywhere, all right? Nookie, you can get nookie anywhere. You can get that anywhere. Go overseas, go to Tijuana. It doesn't matter. Go to Thailand. All right, you can get nookie anywhere. What women have is that they are the gatekeepers of reproduction. Okay, they are the gatekeepers of reproduction, and once they no longer have that, men will walk away from them. Okay, when we talk about when we talk about intimacy, men don't necessarily need a woman for that. There are many different outlets that men have chosen and continue to choose, especially with the advancements in AI today. There are a lot of guys that are just fine being alone. Once you hit 40, your testosterone starts to, level off and you become more level-headed. There's a lot of guys who just don't even need it anymore, or they don't need it very often. They don't need nookie very often. And for some guys, they go to the hub they go and check out the hub every so often. You do a little bit of self gratification and finish that up, and that's all they really need. And they don't even do it very often. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every couple of months, maybe. It's true. I remember Dave Chappelle joked about this. He said that, when you get older, it changes. He said that he was there trying to do it, and he said that he literally partway through just gave up. Like he just couldn't be bothered. He's like, okay, I'm done with this. He just gave up. It's that's really how it is. And the higher they, the higher they are up, the further down the drop is going to be, and the more it's going to hurt when they hit the ground, right? And right now, women believe that they're, they think they're heading for the heavens, so their fall it's going to take a while. They're not going to hit the bottom for a long time. It's going to take years and years and years before they even come anywhere close to the ground. That is how far the descent will be. Because think about this, it took 50 to 60 years to get to this point. All right? And they've been rising and getting higher and higher and higher for 50 to 60 years. You really think that they're going to come down from that pedestal? They're going to touch down on Earth? Just over the course of a couple of days or months or years? No, there's gonna be decades of decline. All right. And I'll tell you something about rock bottom. It's amazing. I've lived it myself. You can always go down further. There's always a new bottom. People say, I've hit rock bottom. You think you've hit rock bottom. All right. You'd be amazed. You could always go down further. All right. There's always a new low. There's always a new low. But for many women, they don't even realize this because they are so disconnected from reality. And wherever they will be in their tent cities, for example, they will be there blaming men and believing that help is on the way. In their delusion. Okay? And women are now asking, where have all the men gone? Not where all of the good men have gone, but women are beginning to ask, where have all the men gone? Because there is a decline. While many women are acting like they don't notice it, that's because they're all running around with the same guys. As they're trying to settle down now, they're finding that the actual suitors that are available, those are no longer there. All right. Those so-called Plan B guys are not there. The Plan C guys have disappeared. All right. If you don't make $400,000 a year, I won't speak to you. $400,000 a year as a come up guy. I want you all to think about it. They practically view a guy making $400,000 a year as minimum wage for a man. $400,000 a year is a minimum wage for a man. If you make less than that, then I mean, you really can't even use that title. It's sad. It's sad. But that's how society is. And the irony is, with that kind of money, you go overseas, you can live for the rest of your life comfortably on that money. Comfortably on that money. Just chilling and relaxing, having a damn good life. If you live right, you can live for the rest of your life comfortably. Comfortably. And like I said, I don't feel bad for them. They chose this for themselves, and they're going to have to live with the consequences of that. You know, they're gonna have to live with those consequences. They're gonna have to discover that no one's gonna come to bail them out, and that's really it. That's really it. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about this craziness where we have women mocking men who earn less than $400,000 a year, despite the fact that they're only earning less than $20 an hour? Mocking men for earning less than $400,000 a year, when they're only making $18 an hour themselves, or it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And like I said, they're saying the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And these women, they have such huge egos that it's gonna be funny. Like I said, guys, the golden vagina. We live in the age of the golden vagina, and we all know how God views that. Kevin Umba says $400,000 minimum wage. I know. It sounds absolute. It sounds like absolute insanity. But you have to understand that so many of these women, they can no longer pair bond. They no longer have the ability to pair bond. So they're just out here trying to get their bag because their center of their lives revolve around consumerism. All right? It is what it is. Life has never been easy for men, but the saying is it's really true. Women are born poor, women are born rich and die poor, and men are born poor and die rich. Okay? So as we rise, they're going to deflate, and they're going to expect men to come and subsidize them, and it's just not going to happen. So they can do it, live their best life. You only live once. Okay. But the thing is that women don't even comprehend that they've burnt out all their goodwill with most men. It's true. Like, most women no longer have goodwill with men. Most more and more men have woken up and see what society is, and women no longer have goodwill with men. They no longer have the trust of men, and they can't go out. They can try it all they want using the same shaming tactics, calling guys these terrible names, but it's a joke. It's a joke. Men see it for what it is, and it's not going to bring men into their arms. It's only going to force men away. Cage Grant says women since 60s, 70s, 80s always hate men doing better than them. Single, lot of the time, I keep my mouth closed so they don't know jealous. So they don't know jealous. They are absolutely jealous. They're absolutely jealous. But guess what? Like I said, guys, nothing lasts forever. And we're seeing what inflation is doing in Western society. Inflation is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the crazy thing is that these guys making, $45 an hour. 45 Eric is making $90,000 a year, for example. Making is 90. Okay, yeah, Eric making $45,000 a year. Well, who said that? Was it Eric who said that they made 45,000? One of you guys, yeah, Eric said, yeah, please, I make 45,000. I mean, yeah. I mean, 45,000 a year, $90,000 a year. Someone like Eric, that's not marrying or having children or not worrying about a relationship. They're just going to save most of that money. So you'll have somebody like this, that after a couple of years will have a couple $100,000 in the bank, because not only have they been saving their money, but they've also been investing their money. So they can end up with $500,000 in the bank, and their salary goes up. And let's say now they're making $100,000 a year after maybe 5 years, and and they have $500,000 in the bank, and women are looking at them like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" "I'm a security guard." "Ha ha ha ha! You're a security guard." "Ha ha 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 ha!" Guys, do you know how much UPS drivers are making right now? The internet is an absolute shock that UPS drivers, when you combine the benefits that they receive, roughly works out to $170,000. $170,000. That's the base of what UPS drivers are making. Full-time UPS drivers at their base are making $170,000 when you factor in all the benefits. $170,000. We're not even talking about with overtime. If you factor in overtime, then they're pulling in some ridiculous amounts of money. We're talking about 40 hours a week. If you factor in overtime, okay, then you have drivers. Oh, I don't even know. It's absolute madness, absolute insanity what they'll be making if you factor in overtime. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But most women, what do you do for a living? "Oh, I drive for UPS." "Oh, that's nice. Well, see you around. See you around." You have a UPS driver that makes more money than some doctors, and women will look down on them because of the job that they do. I just love it. I just love it. Everything that women get, they deserve going forward after this. Trying to get this up. Let me put this on the screen. I'm telling you, it's all right. Cage says that's to never let you know your pay is better at a job. Zip it, or they will yell at boss about it. It can. Edison and Verizon made good money. All right, so basically what Cage is saying, that you should never let a woman know how much money you're making, because they'll go and run to the boss and say, "Oh, it's I'm not being paid fairly." And yeah, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. But to be clear, in modern day society, you don't need. If a woman asks you what you do for a living, you tell her you work. You don't owe anyone an answer. You don't owe her an answer. You don't owe her anything. And like I said, when you go overseas, play the field. Play the field. All right? Sell her a dream. Sell every single one of them a dream. Okay? Sell them a dream. All right? And then get what you want and then leave. All right? Finish up and then leave. And never come back. Move on. That's what Vikings have done for so long. All right? That's what our ancestors did. All right? I don't feel bad for modern day women. I don't feel bad for women in Western society, because they have no humility. And the consequences of feminism they've brought onto themselves. And as I've said already, they will never let go of it. They will continue to embrace it until their last days. So let them be. Let them be. Because no one really gives a damn about men. All right? The only person that cares about us is our men, ourselves. That's it. It's just us and God. And sometimes it can feel like we're alone in this world. And that's why the saying really goes, God helps those that help themselves. God gave us the ability to create, and we have to use that to the best of our abilities. Let me put this right here. Cage Grad had another comment. Let me put this on the screen. He says, bus drivers make good money. They retired, they get $6,000. They get $6,000 for life, and nurses jealous they do better. Okay, so they make a good amount of money. I guess that's what, $6,000 a month. I mean, that works out to about $72,000 a year. That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, like I said, women made the decision for themselves. They got their reward. Now they have to face their consequences. What do you guys think about this in the comments? What are your feelings on this? You know, I mean, how do you feel about this? You know, the fact that women are doing this. Kevin Uma says, I'm at peace with it. And I think we should all be at peace with it. We should all be at peace with it. Just, you know, like don't argue because it's a waste of time. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, man, walking away, and cheers.